It's a beautiful spring day here in New York City. I'm on the East Coast heading to a conference in Baltimore. I was just in Philadelphia on a campus visit. And that campus visit had me thinking, I helped that campus launch their curricular approach about a year ago. And we were back almost a year later, a little less, talking about some new workshops and helping them really continue the momentum. And one of the things that was really surprising to me as we walked through a lot of showcases and did some consults and did the work with them throughout the day is the way that they're starting to see things differently a year later. In their launch initially, like many campuses, they were really focused on the 30,000 foot and the learning aims. What is our purpose? Where do we want students to go? Now, a year later, they're really focused on the day-to-day experience and how they're aligning that day-to-day experience with those broad learning aims. It helped show me some of the insights, the ahas, and their possibilities. At the same time, another campus colleague shared that the launch of their curricular approach was like glue that held their campus together during really difficult times. So today I want to talk about the benefits of a curricular approach around intentionality, clarity, alignment, and integration, particularly the benefits of alignment and integration that you start to see about a year in. About a year in, you start to see some alignment benefits, and we start to move from competing with each other to collaborating with each other. We're not trying to get each office to fight over those 10% of students who will go to stuff. Instead, we're trying to say, how do we as offices organize ourselves so we reach every single one of our students? So how do we really collaborate with each other? We're trying to come up with a series of things so that students see the same messaging around self-awareness, for instance, over and over again with the same shared language. And when students start to see that messaging day in and day out through a bulletin board here, a conduct meeting here, and a supervisory conversation here, and the digital displays in the counseling centers there, it really starts to sing for them. It's not the one thing that does it, it's the 7 messages that they experience. Then it really starts to sing and they start to notice it and talk about it when we're not even there. They start talking about it at breakfast with their friends or walking in between classes. This all helps us eliminate redundancy. I think about this as puzzle pieces. Each office's initiatives is like one piece of the puzzle. How do we put them all together so that we're organizing our work around the students and their experience? One of the ways that we can do this is with newsletters. This is what this campus was talking about. They were recognizing that many of their offices send out newsletters, maybe monthly, maybe even weekly. And what if they could organize the content, the messaging into themes, really have it aligned, really have it integrated, and have a great newsletter? Would students who aren't paying attention to 12 newsletters each week start paying attention to 1 newsletter? That's an example of the kind of alignment that comes about a year into your curricular approach. In addition to alignment, we start to see the benefits of integration. So a year in, they were starting to see how they could integrate this in. How do we stop teaching students how to navigate our bureaucracy and start organizing our bureaucracy around how students experience this campus? When we take this approach, we stop trying to pull students out of their experience and show up to our workshop on Sunday night at 7 p.m. in the lounge, and instead, where are they struggling with this? How do we integrate it into their experience? Where are they struggling with this issue naturally, and how do we go to them there in a way that meets them where they're at? Both in content, when they're struggling, or maybe a little bit before, but also in messaging. And rarely is pulling students out of their study, their conversations, the events that they're doing, the things they're attending, their student organization, their athletics, all of those things. Rarely does pulling them out of that benefit them. So how do we go where they are already? Some tools that can help us do that might be things like videos, short, succinct videos, maybe even a series, newsletters, digital displays. In order to do this effectively, we have to really connect with our empathy with the students, both cognitively, what they're thinking, and emotionally. So where and when would the information, the knowledge, the application be helpful? And how do they feel? What might be a little too vulnerable? What might be just the right mix? So how do we connect with where students are at cognitively and emotionally through empathy, talking with them, engaging with them through assessment to make sure we're hitting this in the right way and really integrating into the student experience? I'm often working with campuses to launch their curricular approach. So it was really interesting to be back with this campus for a full day, not just a consult here and there over Zoom, but to be with them a full day in the room and see the benefits that they're seeing, particularly around alignment and integration. And honestly, a lot of the benefits they were coming up with in the room, they hadn't quite seen them yet, but now that they were all there together, they were starting to say, well, what about this? And what if we did this? And how about that? And wouldn't it be great if we did that? And this would really be amazing. So it was really exciting to see that. Now, this was one campus who had launched their curricular approach last April and then May through a 2 days in-person retreat. And this is less than a year later. If you'd like to see some of these benefits or start to realizing these possibilities, these insights, and these ahas, you could be only a year away. There's no time to waste. Your students deserve your approach to be intentional, clear, aligned, and integrated. If you'd like help launching your curricular approach so that a year from now you can be where they are, let's connect.